Greetings to all my friends, to all our members, and to, of course, the profession of acupuncture. This is Sam Collins, the coding and billing expert for acupuncture, giving you a little bit more on this month about dealing with an office. How do I make sure that I'm getting the revenue that I deserve? Because we have to remember what always is going to be true, cash is king. And don't move away from it. I'm not saying insurance is not viable, but there's got to be another place for it. Let's go to the slides. Let's talk about this. What about doing cash, prepaid packages, and membership plans? This is something a little different. You're all familiar with cash discounting and so forth. Let's get a little bit deeper. Insurance coverage is growing. But unfortunately, people often face very high deductibles, limited benefits, and therefore there's still a lot of out of pocket costs. I've seen acupuncture policies where the patient has had a $75 copay. They might as well pay your cash rate, or maybe do something where you're doing a membership. That's something to take instance to. Okay, let's talk about this. What is a membership plan? Well, a membership plan is going to be a little bit different from the so-called prepay packages. Prepay packages are still viable, and it is a way of doing larger discounts than the typical 5 to 15% pay at time of service. But when you do a prepay package, they're buying generally a good number of visits. In doing so, what we run into often is patients wanting refunds or have other issues, or just committing to that long-term care. What about offering something else? This has been the way that you'll see with a lot of these, I shouldn't say chiropractic, but acupuncture groups, particularly modern acupuncture, has moved away from away from prepays towards membership. Why? Because it creates an easier access. Think if you want to create a value and a value add that someone is getting a good amount of service and thinking this is fair and I've not prepaid thousands of dollars. So here's going to be the rule, and this is going to be generally across all states. I will say, do verify if you're a network member with me. Definitely get with me and say, hey, Sam, what about me in this particular state? Is there anything that I have to do differently? For the most part, no. For the most part, it's being transparent. However, let's make sure. So in general, you may offer a membership plan. It's different and outside of insurance. It allows you to offer a membership for a fee that includes certain services that doesn't become beholden to your regular fees when you bill insurance or pay on a single visit. There are real common ways of improving access to services where someone's going to have predictable healthcare costs. Maybe you can say to them, hey, let's deal with this chronic issue. And what we do is a prepaid, if you will, membership monthly that will offer you 2 acupuncture visits or 4, and maybe a therapy within that. That way it's predictable. They know they can come in, they're going to set up, and I would have them set their appointments well in advance. However, this plan has to be structured in a way that it's showing that it's not insurance and not going to be based on any state issues. So membership plans generally should be limited to self-pay patients, meaning I'm not using any insurance, I'm just paying out of pocket. Or if I have insurance, maybe it's for an excluded service. Now, this would be a typical for a regular Medicare Part B. This might be very attractive to them. Clearly state the services that are included. Okay, don't just say it's an acupuncture visit. Well, what does that mean? Is that going to be a 30-minute visit, an hour visit? Is it going to include a certain number of sets? Is it going to include massage, cupping, tuina, whatever the case may be? And I'm not saying no to any of those, just clearly outlay it, but be careful of overlaying that you're going to give a lot of extra things. I would make it an acupuncture visit. And then if they want additional things, maybe there's a small fee for it. Do explain, of course, there are cancellation rights. If the patient decides after a month they don't want to do it, no problem, just cancel, 30-day notice. Okay. Here's what's good about these as opposed to a prepaid package. Prepaid packages require refunds of unused. A membership plan, you didn't buy a visit, you bought a membership that includes something. If they don't come in that month, they just lost it. Kind of like a gym membership in a way. Make it clear to them though. So if you don't come in for a month, those visits don't roll over. Put that in the contract, otherwise they may think it will. At the same token, if they want more, they can buy maybe a bigger plan. Key factor here is explain to the patient that it is a membership, that if they don't use it, that's up to them, but it's just a lost service they've gotten. Realize also we've got to make real clear it's not insurance, it's not a health plan, doesn't satisfy any health insurance for them thinking it's got to be some type of insurance. It is not. Indicate what services are included. Indicate what's not. What are exclusions? What about cancellation? I would love for them to set up their appointments every month, have it set up already, and for the next month set it up again. Then if they cancel, as long as they reschedule, but what about cancellation? If they don't cancel within time, do they lose a visit, or will we roll it over for another week or 2? Maybe. Make sure if they're not using it and want a refund, you just refund the month. So it would be a 30-day notice. So it means the current month is good. it's the next month you can cancel. And I love these because they're automatic renewal. It could be something set aside. They have predictable amounts. Hey, I'm going to pay $59 a month. Okay. What you want to be careful of is don't promise unlimited services. Don't just say it's everything. There is no assumption of financial risk like an insurance plan, meaning you're not assuming any risk. You're going to just pay for 2 visits, and don't represent it's replacing insurance. It's just another way of access. A lot of providers who are doing cash are moving towards this. And this is why you've seen the move in modern acupuncture and other plans of that nature that do this. By example, what if you said it's $99 a month? You get 2 acupuncture visits. And if you have additional visits, maybe they'll discount them. It's a month-to-month enrollment, cancellation anytime before the next billing cycle. So before the next billing cycle starts, you can cancel. Once it's started, then you've got that month, and then the next month we won't be. A clear statement, it's membership. You're buying access. It's not insurance, okay? And this is generally more defensible because when you sold a big package, and a person's unhappy and they spent thousands of dollars and all of a sudden now they want their money back, sometimes, well, I don't want to pay it back. Well, generally you're going to pay back what's unused because they've actually bought visits. With this, they've bought access for up to 2 in a month, and that's it. So if they don't use them, no refund. If they want to continue for the next month, good, we continue. If they want to cancel. Okay. Do keep in mind though, some states are going to put a little more scrutiny, and this scrutiny really, I'll say, is use it and think of it anywhere. Consumer protection. Be upfront of what your charges are. Okay, this is the cost. It can be something that the patient can say, okay, this is good. There's not going to be something they go, I thought it was going to be cheaper. Lay it out. This is exactly what it costs. Avoid statements that it's insurance. Define the services. Don't make it like it's whatever I want to do. I know some of you, for cash patients, one day you do an hour treatment, the next day you do 30, which I'm okay with. But then, of course, what if the person's prepaid a package and one visit you're doing a 30-minute massage, some gua sha, and then cupping. The next time they come in, they might say, well, I want that too. You want to make sure for me it's going to be acupuncture. And then the additional services may be added as necessary as long as they're willing to pay for them, if you will. Be careful. Long-term plans must have cancellation and refunds. This, because it's not long-term, the cancellation is just 30-day notice. And then rights to refunds. What the big thing here is, you can see consumer protection. Think of it as you would want to be treated elsewhere. I like these. They've become popular because it's easier for someone to commit to this. The difficulty is, what if after a couple of months they don't like it? Well, that's up to us to create the value. Make sure they set up for the appointments. Because when people come in, they feel better, but they get away like, oh, I should be going. This is where you want to start setting up, oh, we have a recall. Let's get you set up to schedule maybe 2 or 3 months in advance. Okay. Remember, for our contract, there's got to be cancellation provisions, refunds. Refunds, because it's month to month, shouldn't be a big deal. Don't mislead with advertising about something unlimited or that it's an insurance. And then make some clear expiration terms, which means 30-day notice. Okay. Excluded services, if you have insurance, become a problem, because if you're in network, like with ASH includes everything except massage. So you could do an excluded service. So I'm generally going to say stay away from this if you're with an insurance, unless they have a service that's excluded, okay? That the insurance covered services would be billed, but this would be separate. I think it's difficult to mix this. I'm not saying you can't, but I would have some concerns with doing that. Remember, Medicare, I don't see a problem. Regular Medicare Part B, there is really no direct access to you. These would be perfect patients for that. Medicare Part C patients may be a little bit different. With them, you want to make sure they understand the parameters. And I'm going to say certainly no for auto and workers' comp. Why would I do this for an auto and workers' comp? That is a fee for service where they could be using that insurance. I just think this is another avenue for you. This is something we're going to go over in a lot of detail at our upcoming seminar at the end of this month. And if you're a network member with me, you can reach out before then. But let's start doing some things to get proactive, to change how revenue streams come in our office. You don't want to have one funnel, but many. And it's not limited to just paying cash at time of service. Bottom line, best practice, clear financial disclosures. What's the plan? What's the refund policy? If you resolve those, generally people are pretty happy. People love going to acupuncturists. They feel better. Give them good access. As always, we're here to help. Network members, get a hold of me. Get to our seminar end of the month. For those that aren't, come and talk to us. This is something we want to make sure you're successful. We have a vested interest in all of you. The American Acupuncture Council is your advocate and always will be, and we're here to support you. If you need help, come and see us. Until next time, my friends.